random. I'm not playing any particular song. Everybody's hearing a different song. Oh, you're playing, and I'm not playing anything. I get that all the time. Hey, I didn't know you were a John Cale fan. I'm like, couldn't sing you one John Cale song. Or just something I play in an intro of one of my videos. They think I'm playing a specific song, and I'm just noodling. And that actually, the nature of my work is that I really don't tend to learn a lot of songs. I have a good friend that can play a million songs. He's just, and he's great at parties. He's knows all the 70s, 60s songs, 70 songs, 80 songs. He knows them all on guitar. And it's he's great at parties, and they go, "Hey Tom, you play guitar?" It's yeah, and play. I don't know how that goes, because my work is I'm either writing or reading music that that has not been recorded yet or not been heard yet. So it's not like I was hired by George, Martin to play guitar for the Beatles or something, and so I know all those songs. If I did that, maybe I would know those songs, but I probably would have only played them once and then moved on and forgotten them. So, hey, Israel, on my bucket list. Israel's definitely on my bucket list. My church goes there every 3 years. I think they take a tour and they do all these things. And I got asked to go one year for free, actually. They asked me to come along and I would lead worship, bring a guitar and lead worship. And one of the things they do is they go out on the Sea of Galilee, and on a big boat, and they have a church service out on the Sea of Galilee, which is pretty cool. Let's see, AJ, number 202. Yeah, I know, right? 202. Insanity. Sorry I was a little late. I was having some computer issues, so I had to reboot everything. So, and I was working on some music, some TV stuff. Yeah, and the view count on my channel is really down. Mainly because now, normally, if I look at my analytics, let's see, people audience dashboard, let's see, my top video, let's see, how does this work? Where do I find that? Normally, the latest comments, boom, published videos. Yeah, I did a new video yesterday. Oh, okay, here we go. Top videos. 7 tips for older beginners. In the last 48 hours, 2,400 views, which is really low for that. So that's really fun. That video is over 3 years old now and it's starting to fall out of favor. I'm trying to create the next 7 tips for older beginners is like catching lightning in a bottle. Not been able to do that yet. The new video I did is part of a series. I'm not going to tell you. I'm going to drop it on Sunday. I did just a simple Google search for what's the best time or day to drop YouTube videos. And they generally said Sunday was the best day. So Sunday morning, I'm going to probably around 9 in the morning, I'll drop it. So you're just going to have to wait till then. I'll try not to say anything. Pepper's in the house. And I thought what we would do today is work on alternating between the root and the fifth and the bass and go through all the main chords that open chords mainly. We can do it with bar chords too, but because that's one of those things where there's a lot of styles of music that use that alternating bass thing. It gives you a little bit of a flavor, flair in your playing to have that ability, and it's also requires a little bit of theory. You know how I like to teach theory. So, how do all of you deal with tendonitis in the elbow? I'm assuming in your left elbow, correct? Try now, Pepper. I think you already play like this, right? You already play like a classical guitar setup. If I remember some videos of you playing in your lessons, I think you sit classical wise. That might mitigate it, but it's going to hurt no matter what. But the question is, are you making it worse? Is it going to ever go away? I had tennis elbow in this elbow, and it took, I want to say 6 months, but I think it was more like 18 months for it to go away at my age. And I haven't really played tennis since I had it last, which is a bummer because it's a great source of exercise. I love singles is a great source of exercise. Doubles not so much. So I'm hoping to start playing again soon. But I'm just afraid my tennis chops and my endurance have taken a major hit. Mama's in the house. Sam Stamos, Jack Lloyd, Holly, Bruce, and is... Oh, you know what? I should put the Discord link up, huh? So if anybody wants to continue this discussion after with everybody here, or most everybody here, you can do that here at the Discord link. And I'm going to pin this so it's up at the top. Probably should say something like, this is the Discord link. But it should be obvious. It says Discord in the link. Let's see, who else is here? Yeah, I don't see Dennis yet. Oh, thanks, Bruce, for doing all the paperwork. Bob Schumann's here. Hook's here, and then Ronnie's new. Mamba, let's see. Who else? Paul Meyer. My old friend from junior high, Paul Meyer. Played flute and piano, by the way. That's how we did the beginning of Stairway to Heaven. He played, Paul, didn't you play the recorder? Actually, it was it recorder, or was that on the original recording of Stairway to Heaven? Is that recorder, or is that a Mellotron? Guitar Dog, what's going on? Okay, so a common tool for people in country music is to alternate the bass between, the bass players will do this all the time. Remember I told you the story about subbing in that country band and I didn't know any of the songs. They just assumed I did because, well, these are standards. This is, again, one of those situations I got myself into where I'm like, yeah, they don't have charts. It's like, well, yeah, but you know all these songs. I'm like, I don't know any of those songs. And some country tunes are blues, not many. So, and the bass player was the guy that kind of recommended me for the gig. And he said, just follow me. And I'm like, okay. And sure enough, I mean, he would, whatever, he would telegraph with his bass, and I could kind of tell, I may not be on beat one for every chord, but I could tell where it was headed, and it was pretty amazing. But we're not really going to talk about too much about bass lines, although that's another thing we could talk about, because that's also another stylistic thing that, I might... You might try different, use bass lines in your playing to set up the next chord or whatever. And we've done it all before. We're like when... chromatically. Um, yeah. Oh, that's right. Because you sent me that handwritten flute. I mean, you sent me a copy of the handwritten flute chart. We posted it on the Discord, didn't we? Is that right? Is that where I saw that? It was like I wrote it out. Oh my gosh. It was like probably one of the first charts I ever made, probably the first chart I ever made in my life. And I made a lot of them because I used to be a music director for a show that ran for over 10 years. And I had to write out charts for 40 songs. And that would have been full horn section, 2 keys, bass, drums, 2 guitars. I mean, I wrote a lot of charts. I mean, that was like, I probably made $1 an hour for that gig. I still have all those charts, actually. So what we're going to talk about is fifths, and basically we're talking about chords that are rooted on the bottom 3 strings. Okay, like the D chord is rooted on the 4th string, C chord's rooted on the 5th string, and G chord or E chord are rooted on the 6th string. And generally, if you can, you want to kind of go down to the 5th, but you don't have to, because obviously you can't go down from this E, so you're going to have to go up the 5th. So down a 5th with the bottom 2 strings is always the same fret as the bass note on the string below. So for example, C, the 5th of C is right here. Okay, if I were playing B7, okay, so this B7 chord, I love this chord. I love to take it and go. Take that pinky up, half step. B7, let me write it out here for you. The root note, or the bass note on that one would be the 2nd fret. 2nd fret of the bottom string of the 6th string, and that's an F sharp. If we go to A7, and we're going to talk about, I'm going to talk a little bit about trying to hit the strings with your palm muting technique. For fast strumming, dirty style kind of strumming. Oh, like Jolene. Oh yeah, I played Jolene. I've played Jolene before. I think that was played on a nylon string too, if I'm not mistaken. I'm thinking. Write down the chords for Jolene there so I can kind of be reminded. Because I can't pull it up on YouTube, or else I could mute you guys, I guess. But if I pull it up, then they'll flag me for copyright infringement. But if I just play the chords, I don't think they'll care. In fact, I think in Jolene there actually is a little bit of bass movement maybe in the chord. I performed it with Kelly Jekyll. In fact, there's a video, if you look up Kelly Jekyll. Thanks, Sam. I don't know why that asked me to show it, but. Oh, AJ. Oh. So same thing, if we're going to play a little F chord like this, the 5th is there. Okay, the 5th is part of a triad. Okay, when we talk about a triad, we talk 1, 3, 5. Like an F would be F, A, C, so C is the 5th. Now, keep in mind, another thing is a polka would be, or a waltz. So there's 2 more styles right there, and those are both in 3/4. 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Or if a D chord, okay. so it's always nice to go to the fifth that's below. That's the most stereotypical thing. However, sometimes we can't go below. There's no string to go below on the bottom string, so we're going to have to go up to D. Or up to the fifth. So in the case of the E chord, we're hitting the bottom string and then the fifth string. So the fifth is found there. So we're talking 2 frets on the next string, 2 frets up on the next string. So the fifth of E is there. The fifth of, it's like, remember making a power chord? Yeah, somebody write the chords for Jolene for me. Just go and I just need like the first 4 chords or something like that. Just, you can get it from a lyric sheet. Just the trick is go to Google, enter Jolene chords, lyrics, and then maybe JPEG or something like that. Oh. Let's see. Hitting the A, Sam says, let's see. Oh, isn't that funny? Yeah, so the stream is off, delayed from the typing. That's weird. Oh, pumped up kicks. That's funny. Hitting the A, the perfect fifth of the D chord is second inversion. Yes, that's right. Yeah, and I mean, I don't want to confuse things with the whole inversion thing. The fifth, we can find the fifth 2 ways. You can either go up there like a power chord, so the root, and then the fifth, and you can think of it as major scale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so that's how it's a fifth, or you can go down to an octave. So you take that down, and that would be descending. Root 7, 6, 5. Even do that. So now you've got 2 fifths here. If you could do. If I was playing bass, I might do that. I might go right, something like that, where I might alternate between the 2 different fifths. I might even alternate between 2 different roots if I was playing G to D. G is the root. Like that. Okay, thank you, Holly, so much. Sometimes it goes to G, E minor. Sometimes it just goes G to C. Can't go in the 3rd fret. Okay, I can do that. So I'm not really sure. My G7th here. Not really sure the groove. It is a weird groove. I remember listening to it and go, oh, that's kind of a cool groove. It's not what I thought it was. And it may actually have been, although I don't think it was, but it may have been Dolly Parton playing guitar on it. But it's a great song. It's one of her best songs, if not her best song, but just a great lyric. Now I feel like I do have to listen to it to get the groove. Hold on a second. So I'm going to mute you guys. Let me pull up Jolene real quick. Because I'm curious now. That's a great feel. And I wonder, maybe that's one of those ones where I could do, if Dolly Parton did that groove a lot on songs. Although I don't know if that's her playing guitar on it. I could try to find out. All right. Okay, hold on a second, guys. I gotta listen. Oh wait. Hold on. I'm gonna mute you for a second. Yeah, hold on. That's right. I remember now. And it wasn't. It's not a strum. It's a groove. It's a right hand kind of a finger picking. You know. See. Kind of like that kind of thing. And then it tended to see if I hit again. I don't want to hit play, but oh, it's funny. I turned the sound off and the view count goes up. What's up with that? So I'm not really hearing like a muted thing that you talk about, except maybe, you know, it's kind of like a variation on the Travis pattern. It's kind of a Travis pattern with a hammer on a little bit, and it sounds like a nylon guitar. Let me look up and see who played guitar on it, because that'd be interesting if I can find that all out. Sometimes All Music is 1974 credits. Let's see if they may not have put any credits on here. Nope. No. No musician credits. That's too bad. They have project coordinator. A bunch of those. The heck? But yeah, that's this album, so I don't know. It's too bad. All Music's not really that good of a website. Discogs is maybe better. Let me try Discogs. I mean, I've tried many times to get my credits up on Discogs, and they will not approve them. But when I do it on IMDb, no problem. But see, the thing is, if the credits aren't on the album, I don't know where they would get them from. Have engineer, producer, but no musician credits. I mean, it could be her, but I don't think that's her. I've never heard her play guitar that good. I told you that time where I saw her get on. She was like open E tuning, I think, and she had these long nails. She gets on Johnny Carson. I'm like, how's she gonna play guitar? And she just played open E, and it was a 1-4-5 progression. So she just went through the major chords with a bar on there. But so you can find the bass note, the fifth, in two different places generally. The problem is with that G chord, which is one of our most common chords, there's the fifth. So where else is it? Well, if you have a fifth that you can't get to it like this, like if I play a G bar chord, then that's no problem. You can find the fifth like that because it's a power chord. But hit that, and sure enough, that D string is the fifth. So if you count up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, there it is there. So on a G chord, and that takes some doing, because you're really going from a note that's easy to hit, that bottom string, to hitting that fourth string. Okay, look, Let me pull up that video so I have it. Taylor Swift. Let's see. Taylor Swift Pumpkin Cake. Was it on? You said on Ellen? And she played guitar? Oh, interesting. There's a guitar tutorial on it. All right, we're muting again. Is where she sang it with Zac Efron? Okay, I'm gonna mute again and listen. Well, let me pull it up first. Oh, 9 years ago. Okay, when she was dating. All right, let's mute this and get rid of the ad first because I don't want you guys to have to wait for me to watch an ad again. And I'm only doing this because I figure it probably could be very instructive. Okay, so where's that? And they're dating at this time. Now it even looks like she's teaching it to him. What is the heck? It looks like she's just hitting the crap out of the guitar. Hold on a second. Is it the same vibe throughout? Okay, I'm muting again. Hold on. Yeah, all she's doing there, and it's just it. That's what is it? So basically, what's happening there is she's just basically hitting the strings at with the side of the hand at the same time she's hitting the strings, and just not going for all of them. She's not hitting all the strings, and then just coming back. So in slow motion, it's basically. But I don't think she's hitting the upstroke every time. But basically, the idea is to try to have the reason she's doing it that way, 100%, is because she's singing over it and acoustically at the same time. If she was live in front of an audience and had a pickup in her guitar and had microphone and all that, she'd probably play it completely different. But when you're sitting there on a TV show like that, and keep in mind, I actually replaced Taylor Swift's guitar on a Bieber song that she and him wrote. That was probably about 9 years ago. Well, let's see, that would have been. Yeah, it was a song that never got released. Gosh, talk about leaked songs. I wish that song would get leaked, for crying out loud. I don't think it has been. I know the name of it, but I'm not going to say it. But I played all the guitars on it. No, it's all just gossip and stuff. I don't see anything here about song. But I actually replaced Taylor's guitars. She actually was a really good song, and it was only 3 chords. The whole song was just 3 chords. But I kind of made it my own and kind of turned it into something, and the producer really liked it. So we used my guitars, and then I did some electrics as well. And I even rewrote the bridge, so I was going to get writer's credit on it. And they liked it, but they had me come back the next day and replace it with what Taylor did, because I was like, dang it, I almost co-wrote a song with Justin Bieber and Taylor Swift. And then they had me put a big guitar solo on it, which actually, the guitar solo, I probably could have gotten writer's credit for that. So, but the song never came out. Gary's not going to wear pants anymore. I'm not one of those guys. I haven't worn shorts except to play tennis probably 40 years since I was in junior high or something, or high school. I'm a jeans guy. I'll just wear jeans every day. I don't care how hot it is. I don't really ever get hot. So, or not really like bad, you know, not like my wife. Okay, so basically that thing is that you've got this pulse you want to get, but you want the guitar volume to be low enough so you can hear the voice over it. See, because if she was live, and then also Zac Efron in that video was also playing guitar. He's playing a little baby Taylor, like she was teaching him how to play guitar or something. Is it A minor or is it A major? I think it's A major. But I wouldn't say that's anywhere near Jolene. I mean, there may be another version of Jolene that I don't know, but Jolene is. I'm just hammering on everything on the A minor chord. So I'm playing an A minor chord. You can hammer on any one of those notes they sound good. You can hammer on that the E with the second finger, or you can hammer on the A, or you can hammer on the C. That would also apply to any minor, like if she's in C sharp minor or C minor. Jan, you're yeah, Jan. Jan's having a problem with typing. Did you say fat fingers before? Let's see. Hey! Panama bottoms. What are Panama bottoms? I don't know what those are. Those are like waiters? Okay. So, so you can start out, we can take a C chord. Let's just play this note here. And go back and forth here, C to G. Okay. Now technically we're going down a fifth here. There's the up a fifth, and those are both G. So it sounds. You want to practice that. And one thing you can do is when you go to the G note, I'm deadening that C string. So if I happen to, I don't have to be super precise on it. The harder one to hit is the C note without hitting the bottom one, but look where my thumb is. If you can't do that, you just have to be more precise. And so what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to have a fairly modest strum. Leo's in the house. 47 degrees. 33 watching. All right. Thanks, Bruce. See, I'm not doing a big, although I could. But again, I'm muting, so that makes it a little easier. Like, I'm muting with my thumb, this bottom string. So if I accidentally hit the bottom two strings, I'm fine. And then when I go to the bottom string with the third finger, I'm muting the A string. That one you should be able to do. We all have a little bit of fat here on this part of our fingers, so that's what I'm using to kind of mute that A string. Okay, so that's the fifth for C. Let's do D. I feel like D's probably the hardest one, even for me, because you really got to pick out that D string. So instead of a big motion with your arm, you might want to use more of a strumming motion where you're just using your wrist more, not your whole arm, because as soon as you move your arm like this, as soon as you go up here and here, now you're talking about this is your range of your arm movement, right? So what you're asking yourself to do is to find this little spot right here in this movement. Well, the D chord, you're not even going to play the E string. So you could narrow that down to less than 50% of that by just keeping your strumming ham in between your strumming ham. You're strumming. Yeah, some of us have strumming hams. Other of us have strumming hands. Oh my gosh. All right, so now I'm going to see some ham emojis. Little pig emojis. So take your strumming ham, and if you keep your motion basically between the 5th string and the 1st string, I don't know if you can see that, my finger's on the 1st string, because that would be the whole range of this D and then the 5th. Now, on a chart, would I write D and then D over A or D/A or D second invert? No. I would just write D. It's a stylistic thing. You might write alternating bass. If you write something like alternating bass on there, on the chart, and then you just have G, C, D, C, like that, probably most people would go, most musicians would go, yeah, alternate between the root and 5th. So it would be kind of, hey, painkiller, strumming ham. Especially for vegans. But I'm keeping my motion on my right hand pretty modest. I'm using more wrist. See, if I was doing a big strum on the E chord or whatever, yeah, I may get my whole arm into it. I might go way up here and I may go way down there. Some of that's for show. It looks good in the back row and the row triple Z. And that's part of the job, right? It's part of the job. I actually did a lesson with a pop artist who shall go unnamed. It wasn't Bieber. And it was a girl. The first thing I asked her was, how do you want to perceive yourself as a guitar player? And how do you want to look? I mean, tell me where you want to wear the guitar for your comfort and for the look. It may not be the most ergonomic place. You may want to wear it way down low or way up high or whatever. But first off, take the guitar, put the strap on, go in front of a mirror, and then tell me where you want that guitar, because that will affect the ergonomics of how we're going to learn the guitar. And so because I knew she would be on TV and on stage in front of thousands and thousands of people, I knew that was going to be her priority. Wasn't play. She has guitar players and keyboard. She has a whole band. So playing guitar isn't her priority. Entertaining and looking good for the audience is her priority. So I said, well, how do you want to look? Let's start there. And then once we found that out, then we could go from there. And so that's ham-fisted still, yeah. Yeah, anything you're not familiar with, you feel ham-fisted, though. The more familiar you get with the guitar, the better, the less ham-fisted you feel. So just practice hitting the D note and strumming the chord, hitting the A note. And if you have to look, you can. But eventually, try not to look like I'm not looking. Although I see myself in that really doesn't help. Okay, so Gary's asking about walk-ups. Let me get to that in a second. Okay, so let's just go through all the main chords and get the root and the 5th. That's the starting place for this, Gary. And then we'll talk about walk-ups and walk-downs. Okay. It's exactly that, Paul. Campfire singing, country, polkas, waltzes. They all use. I'm getting cold. Hold on a second. Told you I never get hot, but I do get cold. Now, actually. actually, now to be honest, Gary, actually, I think I have worn shorts in. I may even have shorts hanging up on my closet here in my studio because I think in the summer, the first summer we were here, for some reason it got really hot in my office, and then the second summer, I think I figured out all the vents and got them all working so that it didn't get so hot in here. I didn't even have to turn the air. This house is amazing. It could be 100 degrees outside, and the house without the air conditioning on won't even break 80. It's crazy. It's so well insulated. Okay, so we did the C. D. Now the G is going to be it's going to be a pretty tough one. So we're going to hit the bottom string, the G, and then we're going to hit the D string. So it's, and here's the thing. When you hit that fifth on the D string, you don't have to just hit the top three strings. You can hit the whole G chord. It doesn't really matter. Well, I wouldn't hit the whole chord, but you can hit the D string again. It really doesn't matter. You don't have to. It doesn't have to be bass note and then top three strings and then bottom. Sometimes you'll see it written out in tab that way, and it's like, don't be too precise because if you're trying to get just you're allowed to be a little sloppy with it, uneven. Sometimes you may only hit two strings on the chord. Bass, chord, bass, chord, bass, chord. But again, I would work on just trying to keep your strumming in between the strings for the most part here. Don't get too big a motion like you would if you were getting a groove down, like some of these grooves we were working on last week. If we're going to go an alternating bass line, and again, that almost always implies root fifth, okay? We're alternating between bass notes, okay? So this is probably, G is probably the hardest one. D is pretty hard. E is going to be one of the easier ones. But still, a little out of tune. Still, we need to miss the bottom string when we're hitting the second string, or the fifth string. So, I'll tell you, these snark tuners use up batteries so fast. Just don't. Yeah, I wish they still made these. So let's go to E chord. This would be work for E or E minor. We'll just go to E. So the fifth is above. See, with D, the fifth was below, which is where we kind of typically hear, but then not necessarily. C was here. G was up. E. I went to E minor just because it sounds like A minor would be. A minor is great. You still got to practice. You can even just practice hitting that A string. Don't mute the bottom string. So try to miss that bottom string, and you can do it. Same thing's true. You don't want to get your hand too far this way. Okay, you want to keep your hand fairly close to the strings. And the fifth is there, or you could go up if you want. If that low E is a little too muddy or low, or maybe too dark sounding. So again, the fifth is either going to be here below the note or here on the A string. Not for this kind of alternating bass thing. Yes, I could use the third. So wait, you said Jolene starts with the arpeggio. Yeah, something like that. I'd have to listen to it again, but it's on a nylon guitar, and of course they're capoed. It may actually, it probably is capoed. They had capos in 1974. Okay, so but yeah, so the Mamba's question about the third, yes, that will come into play when I talk about Gary's question. Yeah, practice in the dark. I used, like I said, I used to. Well, I don't have one. I'm like looking for an album, and there's not an album in here. But I used to, when I had students, I would stick an album right here between them so they couldn't look at their hands. Once they got to a certain point, I was like, okay, now the next thing you want to do is you want to practice changing without looking at your hands. And there's a lot of reasons for that. For one thing, the guitar is vertical like this. It's not laying, you see people like this play like this because they're trying to see their fingers and see the strings. But from the perspective of here, I can't even see the guitar is blocking the strings. I have to go lean over it to see it, and that's not conducive to having an interaction with your audience or singing into a microphone. Okay, let's see what other chords. So F, just find those fifths. And if you need to count up a scale, do, re, mi, fa, sol, do, sol, do, sol. That was Guitar Dog's question. Wait, but what did you ask about bass lines going in between? Wasn't that you? Oh, guitar. Oh, I see. You were helping me highlight. Okay. Well, okay. Sorry, Gary. Guitar Dog. I don't know if Guitar Dog's still there. Thank you, Gary. Okay, so I might do something like that. I almost think of that as more like a riff or less of a bass line alternating. If I was a bass player, it would be boom, 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 boom. And that's not a bass line so much as a riff on, within a chord strum. And that's another level there too. So with the climbing thing, first off, you got to look at Guitar Dog is still here. Okay, so basically you want to look at the distance between your two chords. Okay, so say we have a chord progression that's G to C to E minor to D and then to G. Okay, and also we want to the pace of the song. Do we want the bass notes to change on quarter notes, or we don't want them to change on eighth notes? There's a lot of factors, and I think the different ways you do it might be for different styles too. So, for example, for one thing, that was if I'm playing in 4/4, I've got 4 quarter notes, or to get there, and I don't have to start on the first one. So, say 1. So if I want to, if I've got 4 beats, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, like that. 1, 2. If that's our tempo, G2. There's a lot of ways you could do. You could do something like that, where I'm going 1, 2, 3, 4. So what I'm doing there is I'm playing kind of writing the bass line. I want 2 beats of the G, and then 1 beat of A, and then B, and then C. Now, if it were a blues tune, going from the one chord, this G7 to C7, and I was a bass player, right? I might need to play a different note on every beat. So now I've got 4 notes I got to come up with, but the problem is between G and C, there's only 3 scale tones: G, A, B, and C. So I'm a beat early if I do that as a bass player. So what bass players will do is they'll add a chromatic note in there. All right. So they might go. That's a very common gospel. But that would be like. You know, going back and forth between the 1 and 5. But you could even do that over a C chord. That could all be done over a C chord. It's kind of like a, I'm going C, then E, F, F sharp, G, A, B flat, D, C. As all a big long way of getting to the C chord. If I want to go to the G chord. Okay. And so that bass players kind of have to kind of plan where they're going to be. They got to know where they're going to be, and they want to get there in the right number of strums. So we have G. It depends, again, how long you're going to be playing G. If I've only got 2 beats of G, and you could go, like going from C to G, you could go the same way that you went from G to C. So in other words, I went G, A, B, C, B, A, G. And that would be scale tones, both in the key of C and in the key of G. Right now, I don't know what key I'm in. If I go to D, actually, I'm going to go to E minor next. So I'm in the key of G. So I'm going G root. Okay, but how do I go from C to E minor? Well, there's a couple ways you could go. You could go C. You could go. You could go up via the D. Or you go, I could do something like that. Let's say go. I'll play the progression for a second here. Really common pop progression too. Yeah, if you're playing solo guitar, it gives you the notion of, it's kind of like what we've been talking about. You got to be the bass player, the drummer, and the guitar player. Okay, so let's see. Let's see. Shoot. I mean, there's a million ways you could do it. Like I said, it's almost like writing a melody. So, for example, here's one way to do it. I'm not going to worry about the chords. I'm just going to play the bass line. G, A, B, C. And now I go into E minor. G, F sharp. And then B, E, D. So I'm D. I'm going to D chord, and then I'm going to go E, F sharp, G. The thing about it is you might want to change it. You know, bass players would change it almost every time. They might take that progression. They might make their way through that progression a different multiple times. Not different every time, because if the song goes on for 4 minutes, they're not going to be able to come up with 80 different versions of the same thing. But they might not ever do the same way twice with all 4 chords. So we're in the key of G, so there's the E, F sharp, G. So I went C, and I could go straight up, like continue the up thing. So that'd be a chromatic thing. That note's not in the key, and that kind of implies that D sharp kind of implies a B7 chord, almost like you're doing this. the E to the D is a little bit tougher. I mean, you could do that actually. Yeah, that comes to play every now and then. You will do that chromatic movement. But on this one, going from E to D, you know, I could go maybe. So I'm going E minor, G, B, which I'm outlining the E minor chord, E, G, B, and then going to the D chord. Oh, Dennis is lurking. How long have you been here, Dennis? Because we've been talking about you. Now, like for Jolene, I might do something like that, right? A minor, the passing chord, the B note to the C, and then nothing, and then G to the fifth or to the third. Because I like the sound of that B going down to the A. It actually lines up with the melody too. You know, she's going up and down. So the bass line kind of follows that a little bit. So Bruce gives it just, I would throw that in there. Oh, sorry, Bruce, what did you throw in there? Pants. Oh, I am wearing pants. All right, so using scale tones is kind of the first place you go when you're looking for a bass line to get you from one chord to another. Let's just take G, C, D, C. Okay, same thing. Now, when I went from D to C, I didn't go D. I could have done that, but it's a little dorky, and it's hard to get to. So what I did was, it doesn't really, I went to D to the fifth, and then climbed up from the fifth to C. Again, the D, the root fifth thing, is something that's very natural for bass players. So they might go, I'll tell you what, if you, do I have a bass? I got a fretless bass, that's not the bass. Oh, I do have a bass. Let's see, how can I do this? Go to desktop. Where are you? Maybe here? No, here. I do have Amazing Grace. Let me see, grab the bass. I mean, Amazing Grace is kind of a weird one because it's got, it's in 3/4, so it's in 3. I did do it in piano though, didn't I? 2. Oh, really? Just that? Bass already there, but I'm going to play a bass, so I'll get rid of that. so I have to tune. Boy, headstock's way down. It surprised me when it gets big. Instruments go sharp when you haven't played them. I always think the strings would stretch out and they would go flat, but they always do the opposite. I still have my sticker on this bass. Should probably take that off. Okay, so everybody take a sip because I changed instruments, right? You all do that? Having a home sip. Yep, there, Holly got it. So, all right, so let's see. So there's Amazing Grace chords. Let's see, do we have that? What was it? Did we do Amazing Grace? How did we? Huh. Down the Valley, Bill Cheatham. Did we do Amazing Grace? No. Sorry. It's like, what the heck is going on? Oh, I got all those still. I forgot I have those. Okay. Okay. Then it changes. I forgot. So we got. So I go. So, like for example, there. So going from G to D, so you kind of have to have a plan, or you have to have just a few different ways to go from, and when you're, see, here's the thing, when I'm playing bass, I can kind of stop thinking about chords and more thinking about chord names like G and C and D and think more like 1, 4, 5, because I don't have to play any open strings. And so when I go from to C, right? 1, 2, 3. See, I'm not thrilled with the fact that we're in 3 because we were just talking about 4, 4, but the principles are still there. So the way I went up to C is the same way I could go from C to G, is backwards. Okay, and then G. You could go to D. You've got 1, 2, 3, 1. You've got 3 beats in this case a 3, 4. So I got 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1. So I could go there. So what I did there was G, B, C, D, or I could go G. I could go G. I could go G. Sorry. A, B, C. G, A, B, C. Those are different sounds. So watch. 1, 2. Okay. Or this way. Okay. This is almost like, oh, in the saints, right? That's a little different. That's more pentatonic sounding. This is probably more diatonic major scale sounding. Or I could go down. And I might do that. Now, on a 4 string, you wouldn't have that note. So for example, I go to G, how sweet, to the 4 chord. And then I might do something like that. So what I did there was I went up an octave to G, and then I went down. So that one, so basically it's just a bunch of tricks to get you from the 1 chord to the 4 chord. So, or the 4 chord to the 1 chord, or the 1 chord to the 5 chord, or the 5 chord to the 1 chord. We're talking about 3 chords for the most part, but you've got different ways, you know, I think of those 3 chords, you have 6 different ways you can go. You go G to C or C to G. You go G to D or D to G. You go C to D and D to C. Now, I don't think there's any place in the song where it goes C to D. Yeah, so, I mean, there's so many ways you can do all of this. So the most obvious way to go from G to C would be to go G, A, B, C. Okay? And then an obvious way to go from C to B, it ends up sounding like I don't know that song, Painkiller. That's it. What is it? Right. So that's the way you can go from C. But also you could go from C to G. We could go from below G. We go C, E, F sharp, G. Now I'm not digging this because we're in 3/4. But here's the thing: the pathways are the same. You just delay them a little bit. So generally, what I would do in the key of, if I were in 4/4, going from G to C, I would play 2 beats of G and then start to do the climb. So for example, 1, 2, 3, 4. You can practice that. Okay, I'm going G. Just play that. You don't even need to worry about the chords. You pretend like you're a bass player. And that's one way to get from G to C and C to G, okay? Another way we could go from C to G would be to go chord. It's kind of the same approach. We're going from to C, we're going to G. We're coming below the chord up to the chord. So think about C chord, we're coming to it from below. And if I were in the key of C, I might play F natural instead of F sharp, obviously. So if I'm in the key of C, if I were in the key of C, because there's no F sharp in the key of C, there's an F natural. The other thing, though, you could do is come up chromatically. See what I'm doing? I'm going F, F sharp, G. I can even do that to the C. Has a totally different flavor, right? More playful, almost more bluesy. You could see it in the blues context. In the blues context, you might also go. There I'm going G. Now I'm changing on every quarter note. Remember, before I was playing 2 quarter notes with 1 note, and then I'm using the beat 3 and 4 to make the change. Sometimes you want to use all 4. Like for example, if I were going, there's an example where I'm going 1, 3, 4. I'm using beat 3 and 4 to do the climb up. But if I were going to D and I wanted to use the same scale, I could start right away. 1, dun, dun, dun. So I'm going. See. Because I have 4 notes in between G and D, so 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 1 again is where I get to the D chord. I may use all 4 beats to make that climb, but I don't have to. I go. Remember we did that one on the bass. This one would be G to go into D. We practice it. The pentatonic way would be, the more pentatonic would be G, A, B, D. G, A, B. It's a hard thing to teach because it's kind of halfway between theory and improvisation. It's like right brain, left brain kind of stuff. And so that's why I say a lot of bass players just have certain pathways that they follow. And if they're not using any open strings, they don't even need to look at it. They're just knowing they're going 1-4 or 1-5, 1-5, 1-5 or whatever. Okay. Oh, I hate migraines. Vanquish works pretty good for me. It's just aspirin with coffee. Do you drink coffee, Holly? You think you drink coffee? Just get a really strong cup of coffee. That helps too. But I've had migraines so far bad I can't get my head out from under the sheets. It's like the light just kills. Okay, so G to D, like I said, we go. That would be a very pentatonic way to get back and forth between G and D. So I'm going G, A, B, D, B, A, G. Now, if you want to do something that's a little more diatonic, we could bring in that half step. And I like the sound of this one. It's very cowboy sounding. Okay, and what I'm going is G, B, C, D, C, B, G, B, C, D, C, B, right? But I could go up one and down the other, right? I'll reverse it. That's kind of nice. G, A, B, D, C, B, G. Now the other way to go D, D, E, F sharp, G, D, E, F sharp, G, D. So play D string and hit the low string. So hit D, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, D. Oops, sorry. D, 2, 2, 3, 4. And that's a very common climb from D to G. I could also go D. I could go F to F sharp to G. And again, that creates kind of a bluesy sound. Right? Also kind of a country vibe. It's hard. You have to be quick to get to that because your first finger is here on the D chord. You got to jump it down. Um, so G to E minor. That one's, there's not a whole lot of ways you can do it, and so the most common way is actually go G to G again, F sharp, E. I could go chromatically. Doesn't really sound very good. And that's going to be your ear is going to be your judge of whether that method, that pathway works. Like I said, it's like you've got two chords here, and you can go this way, you can go this way, you can go this way, you can go around the back way and come in the back door. There's all sorts of different ways you can get from one chord to another. Oh yeah, I've used similar things at Guitar Dog. I've actually had the mask thing, the cold mask that you wear like over your eyes. That helps too. Yeah. Let me look it up, Holly, and then you could buy the. I'll give you the link. What did you call it? Headache. What do you call it? G-Dog. Headache hat. Let me see. I bet you just put it in the freezer. It's that blue liquid or whatever. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I've seen these. Oh, that's kind of cool actually. It's totally different. There's a million of them. Come on. There's one right there. So if you're going shopping on Amazon today, use that link, and I get a little percentage. Let's see how much earnings I've had this month. It's not much. $11. Woo! I'll take it. It all adds up. Okay, so now, like G to say B minor, which would be the 3 chord in the key of G, or it would be go into the 4 to the 6 chord, which is a very common progression. You could go like that. Let's see. That would be chromatic. So I'm hitting G. So G, A, B. G, A, B flat, B. And I might use my first finger like that, where I use it on 2 consecutive notes, because you're going to want to have your first finger on the B note to get that bar chord. All right. Another way you could go, if you were in the key of G, D. If you were in the key of C, G, I probably wouldn't use that. Yeah, there's the multiple paths. One way you can go G, A, C, B minor. That just doesn't sound very good. You're kind of implying like an A minor to B minor, and that's not the chord progression. The chord progression is G. Okay? You can do something like that. That's kind of works. So that's a bass-ish line. It's more of like a lick. Okay? I would consider it a lick. So I'm hitting G. Hammer on A to B, and then hit the D string. And now your first finger's already on the B, so just put that and hit the chord like that. Again, that's very country sounding. Can I wear one? I need one right now. I got a little bit of a headache, and the coffee's not helping. Probably because I haven't eaten anything today, so I'm getting a food headache. I'm going to lunch with my son Jack today, so so I don't want to eat too much, but I've got this will help. I've got some pistachios. We could have some pistachios. Yeah, all of this kind of walking bass line has a country folk vibe, blues. You know, you would do a lot of walking bass. You know, and there I'm just outlining the triad: G B D B G B, and you'll notice that G B D B leads chromatically. Remember we did this, like I like the chromatic movement in the melodies of our bluegrass songs. You know, that would be one way to approach the C chord from the G chord. That's another way. So remember we did G, A, B, C. Like I said, there's a bunch of different ways you can go, and you find the ones that you like. Yeah, I know. I should wear a green screen suit. And this isn't Zoom though. I don't think I have a green screen option here with OBS. So let's see. Jackson Snyder, what's going on? You just got on. You made it. We're kind of talking about today. We're talking about bass lines in strumming patterns, or alternating between the root and fifth, or doing walking bass lines, climbing. So far, everybody's having a good day. I think Holly has a headache though. She's got a migraine. And looking at a computer screen is like one of the worst things for a migraine. You know, just it's pulsating or vibrating, you know, and sometimes it just doesn't sync up with what your brain is doing. So, where your brain syncs up to it. So, yeah, you kind of one place you might want to start when you're looking at, you know, let's see if I can. You know, you want to look at I don't know how big this is going to be, but G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G. You look at the scale. And we look at, you know, climbing from G to C, we've got G, A, B, C, B, A, G. And this is in 4/4. We have 4 beats to get there. We've got 4 beats to get to D, so we go G, A, B, C, D. We can go right up the scale and back down again on every 4 beats. Or we could go G, F sharp, G, F sharp, down. You know, F sharp, is that right? G, G? Yeah. No, I'm in C, sorry. So G, so if you were going G, F sharp, E, D, if we were going to D, E, F sharp, G, F sharp, E, D, okay? So, and then if you, now look, if you're going from G to E, it's like G major to E minor, you've got 5 notes here, so you're going to have too many notes. You can't go G, A, B, C, D, E. You know, this is not going to work. G. Yep, G, A, B, C, D, E. E. I went chromatic. A, B, C, D, E. It's too many notes. you got unless you put a bar of 5 in there, and that would be very non-country. It's probably bugging you that my collar was up, right? All right, and so you might do something where you just go G, D, E, or G, D, E. You might use the D on beat 4 to get up to the E, or you could go G. The most common is to use the F sharp to go down, and you just go G, F sharp, E. I'm singing too low. Mugu Mugu, good to see you. Lunchtime. So if you're going from C to D, you have nothing. There are no notes in between, and you wouldn't want to go C, B, G, and you wouldn't want to do all the way down to D. You wouldn't want to go, go. You're just going G, C to D. So I might do something like that. I might go G or C, C, E, D. Kind of surround the D note and get to it. And then the D, I might do the same thing. D, B, C. That sounds really nice going back and forth between D and C. So you just got to have a plan. So I'm going C, C, E, D, D, B, C, C. And so you might want to play out your walking bass line, moving bass line ideas with just the bass lines, no chords, and kind of look at your chord progression and say, okay, how do I want to get from G to C? How do I want to get from C to D? How do I want to get from D to E minor? D to E minor in the key of G, a lot of times I'll use that I'll use that B7 kind of passing chord, or D diminished, D sharp diminished to E minor. I'll use that chromatic passing tone from D to E, but I could also do the surround thing. So, or go. I could even go. I went D, E, F sharp, E. D on beat 1, and then on beat 3 I went to E, and then on beat 4 I went to F sharp, and then I went on beat 1 of the E minor chord, I went to an E note. Hammering on the E and the C chord can be spiked. Yeah, and that's kind of exactly, and that can give you that kind of anticipation to the D chord too, because you hit that D note, and you're kind of saying, oh, a D note's coming up, and you hammer on the E. John Schneider. He touches on those people. Don't touch anybody. Let's see. Oh, who would give a dislike? I don't know. It's all right. You can thumbs down. That's fine. I don't know how to remove those. So, YouTube wouldn't let me because the likes and the dislikes are how one of the algorithms they use. It would be very difficult to remove the dislikes. It's one of the algorithms that they use to promote videos. So yeah, Bruce, I don't think I'm going to get 100,000 before this year's up. My subscriber count's dropping, and it's like 888 in the last 28 days, but that tells me it's even a lot less than that because, let me see, analytics. Audience, subscriber count, engagement. Where's subscriber count reach? So 37% of my traffic comes from suggested videos, 27% from YouTube search, 19% from browser, only 5% from external. Weird that they have 2% direct or unknown, which I think is interesting. Yeah, playlists are a very small percentage of. Let's see. Traffic source suggested videos. Interesting. I need to look at this more, like, because there are people that are promoting me, which is cool, from websites. I love that. Like, hey, this is a great video. Check this video out. So, are we okay here? It's getting a little laggy. No, we're okay. Let's see. Analytics. Review. Oh, here we go. Subscribers. Okay, yeah, I got 3 subscribers on Saturday. So it's 24 on Monday. There's a big gap here. 48 on Friday of April 2nd. So if I average 50 a day, that would be 1,500, but it's not anywhere close. That's the high. But there was, on one day, I had 3 subscribers. I think what happened, in fact, Lena said that she lost some subscribers. And she's much more sensitive to her subscriber gain and loss because she has a lot less than I. She, would actually have it go down. Whereas mine, even, if they're going to go through and get rid of a lot of unused accounts, which is what they probably did over the weekend, I still had a positive net gain. But if you were to, see, my peak in the last 28 days was 62. Now I can change this, let's see, to be, oh no, okay. So, can I change the period of time here? I should be able to. Oh, last week, there it is. So if I go last 360 days, or last year, man, it was like, holy cow, a year ago, right when this was all happening, one day I got 200 new subscribers in one day. Imagine if I kept that up. There was a little bump here in December, around Christmas, right? We had a bump at Christmas, I remember that. And it's just kind of steadily down. So I don't know, Bruce. I don't know if we're going to make it to 100,000. We're going to try. I got a new video coming out on Sunday. And the category it's in, the other videos in that category are in that list are actually get quite a few views. I should do another, and this is, obviously, I'm telling you now what category it's not, or what series it's not, but it's the Jam Along with Tom, or whatever that soloing thing was. What was that? Improvise. Intro to improvise. Yeah, episode 9 is what I stopped at. So let me look at these real quick and see what. Yeah, I guess the views counts. The first one. Well, no, it's not that high. 3,600 views. That's not very many. 1,500, 1,700, 900, 1,700. 6,400, though, for the jam track. So that's not bad. I should do more jam tracks. There's another jam track here, I think. Yeah, there's another jam track. That one only has 800, though. It's the 2-5-1 progression. So it was kind of a cool concept for Intro to Improv to play a line and then have you play along with me, or repeat it. Yeah, I mean, traffic source, this should be your guitar. See, this one's got 4.5 million views. So I'm not sure. I'll have to check this out, but does he recommend my video in the video? Why is this? Oh, I see. I see because it's showing up on the right side on the scroll, or at the end when people get to the end of it, it recommends my video. That's probably what's happening. Because this video has 4.5 million views. This guy's got almost 600,000. Art of the Guitar, and I actually no, I'm not subscribed to him, but um, it's great. I mean, again, if I decided to do this full time, I would probably stop doing the live stream and concentrate on making videos and live and content. I mean, and lighting and getting new cameras and all that stuff, and probably paying someone to edit. But G Dog, a follow up. Yeah, I could talk about. Well, and here's the thing, G Dog. On that, I started talking about that. I have a playlist, and it's hugely unpopular. It's the business of making music, where I talk about all the different ways to make money in the music business, and I'm like giving away all the secrets, all the stuff I learned in my, you know, 40s and 50s that I wish I had learned in my 20s and 30s. And so I kind of given away all that stuff. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, you're probably right, Bob. It says Bob said it's tougher to increase followers without revenue sharing and teaching songs. Yeah, I would agree with that. Rick Beato he got big because of his what makes the song great, and he doesn't make any money on those. But it's funny because he did one. He just did a video yesterday on the fact that they took down his video on what makes a song great with Joni Mitchell, and he wasn't getting any revenue from it. They were getting all the revenue, and they took it down. And it was a year old, and she even emailed him and said, "Thank you so much for doing this." And it was a song. Most of his viewers were born in the 90s, and the song was from the 70s. So he was actually making the record company money by bringing to their attention, his viewers' attention, this song that they'd never heard of before, right? So they probably got a million new spins on that song alone just from Rick Beato, or maybe 2 million just from Rick Beato's recommendation alone. And it probably ended up, because people liked it, it probably ended up on a lot of playlists, and because they liked it, they probably ended up listening to a lot more Joni Mitchell stuff, which made even more money to the label. I'm with him. I don't understand. But the funny thing was, he did a video about that, and within 24 hours, he had 100,000 views on that video. And that video, they can't take any money from. So him complaining about, so if on 100,000, you're looking at $300 or $400. Maybe Rick's making more like $500 for 100,000 views. So for him to rant for 10 minutes, he can make some serious coin. And I think that's actually where some of his revenue is coming from, is from the videos he makes about the videos he can't make money on. So it's pretty funny. But you're right, Bob. If I were doing more lessons and things like that. Now, this next video kind of falls in that category a little bit. And so the reason I did this one was because the other videos I've done in this category have had a few views. We'll see if this one does the same. The funny thing is that, or not so funny thing is, the last video I did was the fun chords in C, in open C, and that I got 500 views on that. It's just nothing's happening with that thing. So it's just nothing. In fact, my intro to ukulele doesn't even have 500 views. So yeah, the whole thing is just dropping off for me, which is fine, because it's not like I depend on this for my livelihood at all. YouTube doesn't generate enough money for me to stop doing everything I'm doing. In fact, I would be very concerned if I did that. If I were to stop everything, if I were making 100, say 10 grand a month on my YouTube channel, I'd be very concerned, because they could drop you at any moment. It'd be like having one client and have them drop you. It's like, that's the beauty of my work. I have a lot of clients. So my revenue comes from a lot of different sources, and YouTube's a very, very small percentage of it. So I don't really concern myself. Yeah, I could do something like that, Guitar Dog. Saying to hook up with some Apex player on Twitch and play live. Yeah, I have. Yeah, the Apex, the Fuse, this thing sounds great. The guitar, you guys, definitely, if you're gonna watch a video, uh, you want to hear some really good music. I mean, really fun music. I played all the guitars. I played bass and guitar on Apex, Fuse, music. This pack, I think yeah, 7. This is the one. Get a link. Okay, hold on a second. We have to mute. Oh, it's muted. Okay. Here's the link. So check this out. It's a very classic rock sound. We've got a very big kind of AC/DC vibe and Stairway to Heaven vibe. And like I said, Danny Gottlieb played the drums on it. And who's a great drummer. So what did I do? Did I do air quotes? I'm sorry. No question, Bruce. What that Bruce said. I think a bulk of folks are looking for lessons, specific songs. Yeah, jam tracks, pure entertainment, IG play long. Yeah. Yeah, and that's probably true. Yeah. So one thing I don't like is doing a bunch of work and having other people make money on it. I mean, I don't mind that. I mean, that's how my business works, but not if it's my creation. And so that's where it gets a little frustrating when people I've had people say, "Hey, this guy did the same lesson you did." In fact, I happened on TikTok. Somebody was like trying to say that somebody called him out and he redid his video because he didn't give me credit. He didn't stitch me, as they say in TikTok world. And so then he did stitch me, and so it's all good. But it's interesting when somebody stitches you and they've got more followers than you have. You get a lot of followers all of a sudden. People show up, and it's kind of interesting. So take care, Aslan. Yeah, it's funny because Guitar Dog. It's funny because nobody's impressed with the Bieber stuff, but the Apex thing, that's pretty cool. So yeah, so check out that. Click on that YouTube link I just posted, and check it out later. It's pretty fun music, And so what those are? It's a compilation of all these different. So when you're playing Apex, you choose a character. So there's a character select music. So you're in a room where you're selecting your character. There's music playing for that. You select your character, and then it goes to a different set of music, and then you're in the lobby, I guess. And the lobby is where you get all the, you choose the guns and whatever you're going to do. And then there's the jump, which is kind of the thing where you're jumping down into. And I'm assuming the reason they do that is because they're waiting for other players to come in, and so you all land at the same time. And then, for all of these different things, the cues are actually even called that on my end. They're called like character select, the jump. So this was like fuse, character select, fuse, jump, fuse, lobby, fuse. I can't remember all of them. And we did one that was had some acoustic instruments in it. We just did one that had some kind of more of a Japanese flavor to it. And that's, I think, another character that's coming out. I don't know the name of the character. So you got to be careful when you talk about these things, too, because some of that stuff is not supposed to be known until later. But I think they're already promoting that. They promote really early on these things. Sometimes they promote the characters before I've even played on the music for it. So, but they do new characters and new seasons and things like that. So it's pretty cool. I need to get a player. They said they're going to get me. Respawn said they're going to get me a player, and they said, "What do you want?" And I'm like, "Oh, I don't care. Give me Xbox or whatever." But then COVID hit, and the office has been shut down, and nobody's in the office. Everybody's working from home now, so I haven't had a chance to. Nobody's given me a. Yeah, you missed a lot, Paul. All we did was talk about you the whole time. And what's her name? Holly. Holly, how's that headache? I'm not helping, am I? Am I? I should play some heavy metal and then, or I should play some cluster guitar. Hey, take a sip, everyone. I'm picking up another guitar. You're like, what? Okay, let me get rid of this. All right. It's like, what the heck? So it's just all tuned to those Ds? Yeah, all Ds. So it's easy to play clusters. On a piano, if you sit on a piano, you create a cluster, but they're very difficult on a guitar. So I took one of my Squires and just put nothing but D strings on it. So now it's a cluster guitar. But I can also create melodic things, like very auto heartbeat kind of sounds, like. Yeah, right, Gary. Gary plays cluster guitar and standard tune. I can play cluster piano like nobody's business. So, yeah. I just have it here. I was using it on, what was I using it on? Oh, I was using it as a demonstration on that. Oh, you guys were hilarious on last Friday when I did that game audio hour thing broadcast. You guys were playing a drinking game, and I asked him after we logged off, I said, oh, did any of my subscribers show up? And he goes, yeah, they appeared to be playing some kind of drinking game. And I said, oh, gee, yeah, that's right. We play a drinking game on my live stream. And they started laughing. We need it. I was like, they need a drinking game. Yes, walking bass runs, basically, Bruce. Okay, so I'm going to take off. It's at 11 o'clock. I got to eat some protein before my son gets here. Maybe a cheese stick or something like that, right? Some pistachios. I think that's what I'll do. And that'll help with the headache. But yeah, I love making weird effect noises too. It's kind of part of my job, which is really pretty cool. Almost as much of a sound designer sometimes as a guitar player. And that's part of the reason why I like getting so many different weird instruments. In fact, I don't think I have anything else coming right now. I have to go buy something new. I have to find some other weird instruments I don't have. So always open to suggestions. Anyway, Stamos, Sam got me the Baglamas, which I have. Which actually I really love that little thing. It's gonna come in handy. I can definitely tell that it's gonna come in handy. In fact, that's another thing I need to do. I need to do another. My keyboard's filthy. I need to do another video for my composers because I've gotten some new instruments. So, anyway, all right, everybody, Mamba, good to see you. Guitar Dog, Jan, awesome. Holly, Bruce, and Dennis, right there, right in a row. Look at that. Paul, old friend, good to see you. And we will. And we should do maybe next week. Maybe next week we'll do another. Maybe I'll do 2 lessons next week, and then we'll do a live Zoom thing. Okay, so maybe we'll set that up. Holly, I'll let you know, and then I'll create a Zoom meeting thing. Okay. All right. So God bless you all. Thank you so much for watching. And if you're new, subscribe please, and like the video. If you have to, you can dislike it if you don't like me. I understand. A lot of people don't like me, so I get it. But trust me, I definitely rub some people the wrong way. Anyway, sometimes people with joy don't. Hey, Steve Barry, good to see you. Later, taters. Anyway, I'll see you soon. I'll see you Monday, Lord willing. Okay, take care. Bye bye.